Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Hey, how's everybody doing out there? Cheers. Happy Sunday, happy May, happy everything. It's good. Everything's good. Everything's good. I think. Happy 78th birthday week to Mr. Pete Townsend, iconic figure in rock and roll. Yes, and I think the Who does not always get their fair shake in the world of classic rock, do they not? I mean, I think I don't know. I think the Stones are always everything's compared to the Stones. Hey, the Stones do this and that, because they're still around. Then the Beatles are thought of as, of course, the greatest ever as far as the world of music goes. And then you got the who kind of are still around in some capacity. Unfortunately, they've had a few members pass away, um, but they're Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend are still do shows of art apparently up until last year or before COVID or whatever they've done shows, but yeah, I just don't think they get the critical acclaim that the Stones or the Beatles get, and they should really be right up there as far as I'm concerned. One of the greatest songwriters of all time, Pete Townsend. Lots of really, how do you say, important stuff he talks about, social stuff, really introspective lyrics, and not exactly just the fun, joyful stuff that you might hear from the Stones or early Beatles. So, there's some interesting stuff going on there, and that whole hope I die before I get old story rings true for a guy like that, who's now 78 years old. But yeah, the Who had a real interesting start from that whole British, um, I guess British invasion, if you will, and but what I didn't know, because hey, I did research today. What I didn't know is Pete Townsend joined a band that had Roger Daltrey on lead guitar, another lead singer, John Entwistle on bass, and a drummer that wasn't Keith Moon yet. But he was encouraged by Entwistle to join the band, and I believe as a rhythm guitarist. And it's funny because as I read this, I think Pete Townsend is known as a rhythm guitarist. That riff there, that's brilliant with the open strings ringing. Substitute, My Generation, just powerful guitar parts. Anything from Who's Next, and just really rhythm guitars. Roger Daltrey, lead guitarist. Wow, interesting. And then John Entwistle. So members changed in that band. It became the Who, and I guess the singer left because Roger Daltrey ran the band, and they had arguments with the singer. Singer left. Daltrey took over lead vocals and dropped the guitar. Townsend was encouraged to be the actual sole guitar player. Eventually, the classic lineup, they added Keith Moon, and the classic lineup of Daltrey, Entwistle, Moon, and Townsend were the recording act that took them well into the 70s until Keith Moon's untimely death, I believe, in the late 70s. But yeah, it was interesting because as far as a guitar standpoint, Entwistle's the bass player is kind of the lead guitar player in the band. If you listen to the bass lines in any song, especially "Won't Get Fooled Again," wow, there's just it's a nonstop, never-ending bass line for John Entwistle, and Pete is just hammering chords, and the windmill arm thing that just solidifies that this is the greatest, one of the greatest rhythm guitar players of all time, right? And it really defines guitar sounds too. Because think about it, the solo is only a little section in a song. If you're lucky, you get two verses. You usually just get a verse and maybe a chorus, depending on what you're playing over. And then you get some intros and some fills, and that's it. And everything else is rhythm guitar. If you want to get a job as a guitar player, you better have your rhythm guitar chops in place. Don't be worried too much about the shredding. It's always a great thing, but 90% of the time you're playing rhythm guitar, and you have to sound good as rhythm guitar. Work on that rhythm guitar sound rather than that lead sound. It's both important, but what's more, what do you hear more of? But Pete Townsend is really an inspiration for people who play solely rhythm guitar. Incredible acoustic guitar player too. If you listen to a lot of the Tommy's acoustic guitar, and if any of you are as old as I am, you might remember something called the Secret Policeman's Other Ball, that was a charitable event, I believe, for the police in England, I believe, police force, and great live performances, acoustic and otherwise, by a lot of artists just came together. And look that up, because there's some incredible performances by Pete Townsend just singing and playing acoustic guitar. I believe he plays "Won't Get Fooled Again" just him solo, and it's one of the most powerful acoustic guitar performances I think ever. So if you guys remember that, that's an interesting piece of history that just popped into my head just now. But cheers to the rhythm guitar parts of Pete Townsend. It's just incredible. And then that the man's still around is just amazing too. And the Who, again, like I said earlier, I don't think they get the credit that credit's due for them as an act, a performer, and a piece of rock and roll history. Their sound really evolved. Almost like what would the Beatles have sounded like if they continued after they broke up in the what it was, end of the '60s, early '70s. The Who kind of turned into a '70s act. With the heavier rhythm guitar, and because you hear the Substitute in the early '60s, and my generation was kind of before its time, but it was a little bit more the '60s rock, kind of like the early Stones stuff, and then they evolved into this more of a power act, and I think their Guinness Book of Records, I guess. The loudest band thing still kind of stands true for 120 decibels. I'm sure that's been broken now. for sure. I'm sure it's been broken. But anyhow, just a little history for all you guys out there. I hope everyone's doing well. That's a hugely busy end of May, early June. June is a crazy month for gigs for me. Lots of great stuff coming up as far as I got Jacob D'Souza solo. I got Bridge on Fire live, doing some new venues in June as we open up our calendar and get into some more and more places we're playing, which is amazing. It's great to feel that way. The summer's coming, and Jacob's got a big showcase at the Canadian Music Week, which Bridge on Fire will be following up. Hi, Jacob. Yes, I'm using your guitar today. Jacob is in Europe right now. But anyhow, have a great Sunday. Have a great week. Have a great May. Happy birthday, Pete. And if there's anything else you want to talk to me about, feel free to comment or direct message me even. Why not? I've got lots of special stuff guitar-wise coming up. If you guys don't know this already, I do a guitar lesson a day on TikTok. It's still my name, Darren D'Souza, on TikTok. There's a ton of lessons. I've been doing it since February, so there's lots of content on there. Some of those lessons I do post. I'll eventually post them all on Facebook and Instagram, and they'll eventually be all on my YouTube page if you follow my YouTube page, which has got some cool stuff on it too. Channel, not page, YouTube channel. But anyhow, lots of social media stuff coming up. Watch the guitar lessons. Getting lots of really good positive feedback on the guitar lessons. Anyways, have a great one. Take it easy. Bye bye.